Happy Thursday. It's a glorious Thursday. Forgot to check the old temperature, but it's definitely within probably the high 70s, low 80s. Feels nice outside, in which I was out there. But instead, I got home and did this video. That being said, the college bubble is popping. Enrollment's down third year in a row. And this is good. This is good news. The supply and demand is going to take its course. When there's high demand, colleges could literally rob the students, causing them to take out loans. And I also heard the story on KLBJ radio in Austin, in the Mark and Linda show. Linda wasn't there. She took the day off. I think she made the correct choice. But what am I talking about? What am I talking about? I'm talking about these two stories. I don't know which story they were reading from, but I'm going to go with the state-sponsored propaganda, which is the NPR one. Undergrad college enrollments is continuing its year-long decline through much less drastic rate than during the pandemic. According to the preliminary data on Thursday, U.S. colleges and universities saw a drop of just 1.1% of undergraduate students between the fall of 2021 and 2022. This follows historic decline that began in the fall of 2020. Some even say it started back in 2012. Over 2 years ago, more than 1 million fewer students enrolled in college. 1 million doesn't seem a whole lot in the whole scheme of things. That's really not a whole lot. But when you have a declining birth rate, you have out of control costs of college funds. That does mean that's going to start adding up. And let's say in next year it's down 1.5, in the following years down to 2 million. The next it spirals, and everybody's going to trade school, and we're flooded with tradesmen and women, which will force colleges and universities to rethink their price model. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing in the long term. The short term is going to be terrible because you're going to have a lot of people that would probably get advanced degrees in science and other STEM related technologies, which is going to hurt us within about 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. But if that forces colleges to lower their rates to something a lot more reasonable, as they're trying to get more demand for students to come in the long term, it's going to be a benefit. It certainly wouldn't call this a recovery, says Doug Shapiro, who leads the Research Center of National Student Clearinghouse, which released their preliminary data. We're seeing smaller declines, but when you're in a deep hole, in fact, you're only digging a tiny bit further, and it's not really good news. I think it's excellent news in the long term. The decline in undergrad enrollment fell across all types of institutions, including private, nonprofits, four-year public schools, and for-profit colleges. Community colleges saw the smallest decline, only a 0.4% enrollment loss compared to the fall of 2021 because they charge a lot less, thanks in part to increased enrollments among high school students who are dual enrolling. Maybe that could be it. They get a taste of what college really is, and they're like, nah, I'm good. I got my 2-year degree. And that's all you need. That's what most people need to have a functional employment, is really an associate's degree. And if they're getting that associate's degree while they're in high school, why do they need to go for anything higher when most companies only require a associate's degree? In certain fields, I mean, there's more advanced fields that requires at least a bachelor or a master or on-the-job training. Dual enrollment, that's really good news, as community colleges were the hardest hit during the pandemic, with their enrollments drops in the double digits. For the preliminary report, The National Student Clearinghouse collects on 10.3 million undergraduates and graduate students, representing a little more than half of the college they plan to collect data from by the end of the semester. Not according, but across the country, colleges have also been reporting their own fall enrollments ups and downs. A free community college program in Maine, which targets high school students who graduate during the pandemic, led to big enrollment gains. There are nearly 2,000 more students enrolled at the campuses across the state this fall, a 12% jump from a year ago. But many other places following the national trend of decline. At the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, a regional four-year public college, enrollment is down 3%. About 45 miles south, another branch of the university also has a historically black school in Pine Bluff, saw enrollment go down by 7% compared to last fall. Man, because you're charging too much. There's some schools that are charging $75,000 a year or a semester. Who's got that much cash on them to go to school? And who wants to be ridden with debt for the rest of their life in hopes to get that high-paying job that they can actually make payments towards? We're analyzing the data to determine where and why most of the decline occurs. Mary Hester Clifton, the director of Communications Institution Advancement, told Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette, there is no singular reason for the decrease, but it appears that the pandemic and economic conditions are affecting our enrollment. You're charging too much. You're charging too much. People don't want to waste money on a four-year degree and not be able to use it. They're flipping burgers because that's the only place that they could get a job, especially if we're doing a recession. Concerns about student debt and strong labor market for unskilled workers and questions about college affordability, particularly at a four-year college, and other major factors keeping prospective students away from getting a degree, according to Shapiro. You're charging too much. That's my opinion. I think it's a fact that most people share my opinion. There was a hope that the undergraduate who choose to take a year off in 2020 and 2021 would return to college, but they didn't. They found a job. They found a job with the skills that they got from your university and realized that they don't need you. They're doing just fine. Especially given the expanded opportunities for in-person learning this fall that didn't happen because they didn't see a return on their investment. They found work that's willing to pay them what they feel that they're worth or slightly below it. They're making ends meet. They're able to put some money in the bank, and they don't have to go more and further into debt. They took that time off and realized maybe college isn't for me. I mean, I'm just speculating on that part. Enrollment in undergraduate and graduate programs have been trending downwards since around 2012, and this is where I got the 2012 from, falling at least 1% a year. The pandemic turbocharged the declines at the undergrad level. Now the decline has resumed to a steadier pace. Graduate program enrollment, which saw an increase in the fall of 2020, but a decline in 2021, continued to decline this fall through numbers that are still above pre-pandemic levels. My theory would be, I think the initial shock of the pandemic in the fall of 2020, the fresh minted college graduates wanted to buy themselves a little time by enrollment in a master's degree program, says Melkyung Ryu, the director of research of publications at the Clearinghouse. Or it could be you're charging too much. I mean, I don't even know if the cheapest college is $75,000 a year or a semester, but there's some colleges that are about 10 to 20 grand a semester. You need about 2 to 3 semesters a year. So that's about between 40 to 60 grand a year, and you require a 4-year degree, assuming that you're on pace. No one has $112,000 that could put towards education. And assuming that they can get a loan, why would they want to pay that off? I mean, I get that as an investment, don't get me wrong. Investment, like property, it only increases in value. in most cases than not. That's a tangible investment. Stocks, for the most part, are a tangible investment. Shiny metals like silver and gold and copper is a tangible investment. Education is not that tangible because you're unable to really measure it anymore, in my opinion. Some bright spots in the preliminary data includes an increase in undergraduate enrollment in a historic black college and universities at a primary online institution where more than 90% of the students are generally remote. Students are increasingly open to online degree programs, said Shapiro. Now, are these at full price or are these at a discount price? Not surprising, the side effect of 2 years spent doing nearly everything on a computer during the pandemic. I still think you're charging too much. I think when you reduce your price by a lot, you're going to start seeing demand come up because right now the supply, you have too much supply. Let's put it that way, and I know education really isn't that much of a supply. Other than maybe you have 2,000 seats available for a freshman, and you got about 20 students trying to apply. Let's see, is there anything really new in this one? Yeah, they didn't really explain why this is a college enrollment drops finally letting up, and that's good news. No, I don't really think it's good news. I thought it was a bad news. College enrollment declines for the third straight year since the pandemic. Reports find counts off by 7% since 2019. College and university enrollments declined for the third straight year, according to the other one. They thought it was COVID, but I think it's really the price. According to it's pretty much the same stuff. The same stuff. Let's see what the comments have to say. Sometimes the comments are very insightful. I love these liberal arts bashing going on here. I got a design degree and have been very successful kitchen and bath designer. My husband was a fine art cosmetics major and then high paying job. Please stop telling yourself that art has no place in college. Every single thing you pick up, hold, and see has been designed by someone. Apple products is a great example of great design and good functionality that drives the economy. People who don't need art or creativity are very sad in souls. Yeah. Is this a bad thing? Most degrees are totally worthless or infinitely overpriced. I hope kids realize this and seeking out better and more well-paying careers. Get into the trades, which includes healthcare. You have a job that cannot be outsourced or automated, along with never-ending opportunities. Artist formerly known as David Denison Bonesburst. Nursing school prerequisites: 1 year of high school biology with a C or better, 1 year of high school in chemistry with a C or better, 2 years of college preparatory math with a C or better, GPA, blah, 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 SAT and T tests. These are just the requirements to get into nursing school. The healthcare field is sadly lacking nurses right now, but that's not a typically quick trade school kind of thing. Education, population equals higher earning over your life. I mean, that's questionable. We are all cannot be plumbers and we shouldn't be undervaluing education. Well, I think education is overvalued right now. I don't think it's undervalued. I think it's overvalued. And I think a lot of people think there needs to be a correction within the college bubble to where college becomes more affordable. And the only way to do it more affordable is you drive down demand, where you have 2,000 seats, but you can only fill, let's say, 1,500. That will force the university to rethink how much they're charging and try to lower the cost to start filling up the other 500 seats. We're here because colleges have gone nuts with upgrades and cost increase to the point where it's too much of a burden to take, which, according to this person, back up my theory that education is overvalued right now, not undervalued. Been in healthcare since 1998. I'm well aware of all this, so much so that the BNS is also waste. Get the ADN and then get the BSN online. but only if you have to do this. This is why I always push for over wasting 4 years and 200 grand on history, psychology, English, and type degree. Plumbers are rolling the money. Same with electricians. That's more lucrative than nursing. According to this is a surprising statistic of you in personal experience with two kids presently in college, both at state universities. My youngest just started in Oregon State. They're at a 12 to 15 above average enrollment for the freshman class, and most freshmen are at the tripping up in rooms built as doubles. My oldest is at Vermont. The dorms are full, and there's a dearth of off campus housing because of the high numbers of students. Classmates of my youngest scored a 35 on the ACT and 1580 on SAT. But yeah, we get it. They're kind of either high, kind of smart, or just average, maybe. Was not admitted to any top tier Midwest or not Ivy school. He applied to even Rice University. Illinois, there's an overwhelming surge of kids that sat out of college for the past 2 years during the pandemic, competing with the incoming freshman class. Articles this spring about the overcapacity issues at UC Berkeley, another place he was not admitted to. Bear this out. Not sure what schools are suffering enrollment declines because many are over capacity. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe they didn't get into Ivy League college, so they figured it's either this or nothing. Many people posting here seem to think that it's a zero sum, either a game, either or a game. Either you go to college and have a degree or you have a blue collar job. Going forward, most blue collar jobs require a far higher level of technical skills and education than in the past. I'm 60, I didn't go to college, and I managed to land in the upper middle class. Yet I wish I did go to college because having a degree would have given me more choices in life. I pushed my kids to go into college, and now they have advanced degrees and a good job. Good on them. I told them I don't care if you want to sweep the streets for a living. I care that you have a degree so you'll have more choices in case you decide to do something besides sweeping streets. And if America wants to remain a global power, they will need to have an educated and healthy workforce. College education Republicans have educations yet tell their supporters that they shouldn't even bother getting an education. The question is, why do they want Americans? Yeah. We get it, you Mr. Potato Chip. Not surprising, this trend will continue at the current tuition level. Colleges is a poor investment. Trade schools and community colleges offer a better return on investment, and those jobs almost always are in demand. Then, of course, PH and MD. Student loan is a massive burden for many with no evidence that any will be done about the predatory high interest rates and ballooning costs of colleges. There's one thing you could do. You could tell your kids don't take a loan. Pay in cash. Don't go to school unless you can afford it. If more people take this advice, then you're going to have people that are going to be able to pay for it without taking the loans at a high interest rate. And you may cause the college bubble to burst, making colleges more affordable. Boomers berate those with student loans for going to college and getting a loan in the first place. I mean, I understand why people get loans. I mean, they feel it as an investment, but when they get older, they realize the return on investment is just not there. I don't really agree that wages have been stagnated. It really depends on many factors. If you're willing to job hop, there's a lot of people that go job hopping. They get spend 2 to 3 years at a place and they move on for a bigger wage. Wages have been stagnant. Inflation is making it harder for people to save. Many parents of college-age kids have their own student debt burdens and can't help their kids afford college. Well, if they didn't go and get these high-interest college loans, we wouldn't be in this position. Students decide to find alternatives to entering college and taking on student loans or delay college in order to work and earn enough pay for it without a loan, which will take time. Now people freak out about college enrollment being down. Make it make sense. Yes. When your college is what was it, undervalued or overvalued, you're going to run into these issues. So, how many humanitarian professionals does it take to train the next generation of humanitarian professors? Do you think humanitarians are a waste who needs to learn foreign language or study history or fine art? Yeah, that's going on. This is good news. Fewer non dischargeable boat anchor loans weighing the economy down equals more spending. Perhaps folks are realizing that the trades, average tradesperson age of 51 years old or young, offer a great opportunity to make a solid living and go meaningfully work. For sure, that's something that you achieve over time and with experience. You start at the low end, which is true for any job. You have to have something to offer as far as skills. You can make a living, but it takes time to make a living. And I think this is the overall issue that a lot of people have. They think they go get a 4 year degree and they're going to be making bank. But this is true regardless if you go to a trade school or a 4 year college degree. You have to build your skill set up. Not everyone wants to be a plumber, electronics. Some just want to study liberal arts. Liberal arts degree is not a waste. Depends on what it is. If it's gender studies or female gender studies, then it's probably a waste. Or racial equality or equity, or you want to call it, studies. Many students have them go to successful careers in many fields because they have mastered how to think critically, analyze patterns, read carefully, write well, speak well. Those skills are valued in business and in government. In administration, many kinds of enterprises, liberal art degrees are also good as pre-professional preparation for law school, medical school, MBAs, MPAs, and so on. The problem is the debt load. Many students must assume now to get a college degree, we have to figure out how to make colleges more affordable. Once again, I think this is the theme is make college more affordable. More affordable. I think that's the theme. Save good points. Don't spend a lot of money on a liberal arts degree, though. Spend on a degree that pays well. I mean, safe bet does make a good argument with the liberal arts degree. Now, I think liberal arts degree is very vague. I think you have your liberal arts degree and then you have sub degrees within that, which are not as valuable. But being an English major will help you write contracts. Being an English major will allow you to read contracts. So yes, I mean not going to say a complete waste. Make it free. That's not going to be an option either. So it's also continued to decline. The echo boom population. There were a lot fewer seniors graduating last year, say 5 years ago nationwide, plus many fewer international students than 2019. A lot of excess capacity are in empty dorm rooms at a big state university. Rising cost of tuition doesn't help either. It's $65 a year for a gender studies major of operation, really a good use of funds, even if you can afford it. I'm starting to turn into Brad Cooper in the comment section, but I think you get the point. I think the census is college college bubble is about to burst because people are not seeing any value in it. All they see is a road of debt, lifelong debt that they'll never pay off. They're seeing that there is no return on the investment for 65K a year to go to a 4 year degree when you can go to a trade school at a fraction of that cost and build up your skill set so you can start making the large monies within about 5, 10 years. But like I said, with any type of path you go on, the new guy is always going to make the least amount of money. And when I say the new guy, I don't mean that you have 20 years of experience and you go start a new job somewhere. I mean the new guy fresh out of any type of education, whether it's trade school education or college education, is going to be the lowest person on the totem pole because they lack the skills in order for them to be paid that more or pay higher wages. With that being said, leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are on this topic. And please smash the like and subscribe button on any of all platforms, or just the platform you're currently watching. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, and or evening.